Let's build news literacy to better live out the gospel. The print magazines and online articles are for them. The discipleship and teaching resources are for you. More at gwnews.com.
The United States Navy is widely considered the strongest, most powerful, and best equipped naval force in the world. It began 250 years ago. Like many of the institutions and ideas the US of A is built on, it started in a room in Philadelphia. At the time, the British Royal Navy was one of the strongest forces on the water. That's why the Second Continental Congress, in the heat of fighting for independence from Britain, agreed to establish a continental navy. But after the American Revolution, it fell into disuse with no conflict to fight and no money to fund the fleet. The U.S. military's naval branch would not resurrect for another 19 years. Congress passing the Naval Armament Act was one factor directing taxpayer dollars to fund a formal naval fleet. Over the next 2 centuries, that fleet would grow in size and power with each conflict, abroad and at home. During the Civil War, the North used naval ships to block Southern ports. And by the end of the 19th century, the US Navy saw innovations in technology and weaponry. World War I was mainly fought by troops on the ground, but the Navy contributed by shipping those troops across the Atlantic. This is also when it entered into aviation. Now, the US naval fleet was officially on, below, and above the sea. By the 1940s, the US fleet was about 800 strong, with about 380,000 personnel. Then came Pearl Harbor.
President Roosevelt said in a statement today that the Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, from the air.
The Pacific Fleet took a devastating hit, plunging the United States into World War II. The attack marked the beginning of a new era of U.S. global maritime dominance, and by the end of World War II, the fleet swelled to 6,768, and personnel to 3.4 million. Those naval troops helped secure key victories like the Battle of Midway and assisted in the historic D-Day landing in Normandy. Over the next few decades, the Navy maintained its title of top dog at sea, playing key roles in the Cuban Missile Crisis, Vietnam and Korean Wars, and most recently, the War on Terror. That's 2.5 centuries of defending freedom, and there are many events and festivities planned in celebration. But it's important to remember that it has been a hard-fought 250 years. And for that, to all active and former members of the United States Navy, we at World Watch want to say thank you for your service.